Welcome to Spurs Focus, your go-to spot for daily Tottenham news, transfers, and match updates. Don't forget to support the channel by hitting that subscribe button now. Let's dive into today's top story. Deadline day is here, and Tottenham Hotspur are set for a frantic finish. Spurs have already made big moves this summer with the arrivals of Xavi Simons, Mohamed Kudus, João Palhinha, and more, but the squad is far from complete. Thomas Frank still wants a winger and a centre-back before 7 p.m, with Ademola Lookman strongly linked and Savinho ruled out. Outgoings could be just as busy too, with Yves Bissouma, Bryan Gil, Dane Scarlett and Manor Solomon all facing uncertain futures. Will Spurs pull off a late blockbuster signing, or lose key names before the window slams shut? Transfer deadline day is finally here. It has been a very interesting summer window for Tottenham Hotspur, with plenty of frustration and also a couple of wins in the transfer market. Heading into the final day of the window, Spurs have so far turned Kevin Danso and Mathys Tell's loan deals into permanent moves. Luka Vuskovic finally made the switch from Hajduk Split. João Palhinha joined on loan from Bayern Munich, and Kota Takai, Mohamed Kudus and Xavi Simons secured permanent moves to NE17. Johan Langer still has plenty of work to do on deadline day, with the window closing for business until January at 7 p.m. this evening. As important as incomings are to bolster Thomas Frank's numbers, outgoings are also needed as part of a squad refresh for the 2025/26 season. So what deals could Tottenham look to complete in the last few hours of transfer deadline day? Football.London takes a look below. Tottenham have yet to bring in a new winger to take Son Heung-min's place in the squad, and that needs to happen on deadline day. Manchester City ace Savinho was heavily linked with a move to Spurs, but it would appear that he will be remaining at the Etihad Stadium. The Manchester Evening News reported on Thursday that City have ruled out selling the Brazilian. Ademola Lookman of Atalanta has been mentioned in regards to a late switch to Tottenham, as he looks to depart the Italian side before this evening's cut-off point. Bayern Munich are also keen on the 27-year-old with a possible loan deal mooted, and Spurs will have to get one over their German counterparts if they are to secure the signing of the former Premier League winger. Tottenham also require a new centre-back before 7 p.m, although a new winger features higher up on the priority list right now. It is still a position Spurs have to try and strengthen. However, Frank wants cover at centre-back due to the amount of games Christian Romero and Mickey van de Ven missed last season, with Radu Dragusin still in the treatment room prior to his return to training very soon. The loan departure of Vuskovic to Hamburg has reduced Tottenham's options even further in the position. Dane Scarlett will be hoping to get his loan move away from the club in the final few hours of the transfer window. The striker was left out of Tottenham's pre-season tour squad to explore a loan deal, but a move hasn't quite happened for him yet. He needs to be playing every week, and the hope will be that the academy graduate can secure a switch elsewhere before time runs out. Bryan Gil clearly does not have a future at Tottenham, having missed out on a squad number for the new season. The Spaniard is currently working his way back to fitness from a knee injury, and that could potentially impact a possible move, given it's not clear yet when he will be fit to return to the pitch. Tottenham really cannot afford for that to be the case due to his contract status. Yves Bissouma will feature in the headlines on deadline day. The Mali international has dropped down the Tottenham midfield pecking order this summer following the arrival of Palhinha, and it could result in a late exit. Like Gil, Bissouma's current contract expires next summer, and the club really need to part with him this window to ensure his value does not drop too much. Tottenham were last week in discussions with Galatasaray over a loan deal, but the midfielder remains a Spurs player for now. Manor Solomon was in Frank's Tottenham squad for the first time last weekend after a frustrating summer through injury. The winger gave the head coach an extra attacking option, but he remained on the bench despite Spurs needing a goal against Bournemouth. The 26-year-old is going to find regular minutes hard to come by at Tottenham, and that could pave the way for a late exit on Monday. Solomon will only drop a place in the pecking order if a new winger comes in. As certain as the passing of the seasons and the sun and moon rising in the sky is the fact that Tottenham will lose before an international break. Spurs might have put in 3 impressive performances, starting the Premier League season with 5 goals and 2 clean sheets, including a win at the Etihad Stadium. But just whisper in someone's ear that it's time for international football, and the North London club will crumble. Tottenham have now lost their past 7 Premier League games on the match day before an international break. It never used to be that way. They had gone unbeaten in the previous 13. Before that, winning 10 of those, but something shifted a couple of years ago. Perhaps it's just coincidence, perhaps players are mindful of getting injured, or perhaps they just lack the ability to focus on the present. Either way, this was a dismal affair, reminiscent of much of what was served up in the Premier League last season with Spurs, as open to counter-attacks as they were back then, despite Thomas Frank's new defensive structure. And that's what annoyed him even more than the lack of creativity. We clearly didn't perform well today. We played against a very good Bournemouth team that we know can make it difficult for any team in the league, Frank told Football.London. They played to their strengths. They did that very well, and we didn't handle it well. We knew exactly what they came with, and we trained for it. We just didn't handle it well enough in terms of the balls in behind, the second balls, duels in the middle of the park. That's the defensive side, and on the offensive side we struggled to find good enough solutions to get through phase 1 and 2, so we could get up there and put a bit of pressure on them. We only did that in the last 15 where we put on good pressure, and could have equalised. I think over the game it was fair that Bournemouth won. Tottenham were missing that bit of magic, and the man who can provide that was only able to step onto the pitch to say hello to the fans inside his new home. Xavi Simons, Spurs' new £52 million signing, who put pen to paper on a 5-year contract with an option for another 2, came out onto the turf 5 minutes before the supporters had been told, catching out a few who hadn't reached their seats yet. He waved and applauded all the stands and showed off his phone goal celebration, which came about because he was always ringing his brother when he first moved to PSG, and they decided on it while playing FIFA together and saw a similar celebration. Spurs could have done with Xavi being signed before the Friday deadline, and having magically been awarded his work permit in record time. For everything that the 22-year-old Dutchman brings to the table was needed against the Cherries. Sometimes you need a player that can do something, clicks his fingers, a little bit out of nothing, go past the player, produce a cross, a shot, a pass, with that extra quality that you need on the day, and that's what I think he can bring, said Frank of his new signing. Xavi's arrival certainly brought a buzz inside Hotspur way, on the day he was being signed, with players excited about the transfer, and some asking staff whether it was done yet at points around training. For the Barcelona product is a statement signing, and he's got all the elements to become a star in this Tottenham side. The club shop on Saturday had so many fans looking to get number 7 shirts with his name on it that the wait for printing reached more than an hour at one point. The youngster watched the game from a box in the West Stand, complete with a big entourage which will no doubt slim down as he settles in. He was taken down inside the stadium with about 10 minutes to go of the match. The problem with Sunday's defeat is that it showed how Spurs can be without creativity, and with the running and pressing game below what was required. They had 61.4% of the possession, but an XG of just 0.17 compared to Bournemouth's 1.45. In simpler terms, the visitors had 20 shots to Tottenham's 5, in their own backyard. So what happens if Xavi misses matches against teams that are tougher to break down and double up on the wide men? Spurs' original plan was to sign Morgan Gibbs-White to compete with and play alongside James Maddison, only for the latter to suffer that ACL injury and ruled out for much of the campaign. So it is risky to go into a busy campaign with just Xavi as a true number 10, although he can also play down the left, and Mur